Welcome to another Audible article from MindPower, Centerpoint's free weekly email newsletter. Every Monday, MindPower brings you inspirational articles from leaders in the personal development field, useful tips and techniques to improve your life, plus Centerpoint news and updates. See the links below for more information about this week's MindPower. This week's article is Practical Ego Keeping: How to Train and Care for Your Authentic Self, written and read by Mark Gilson. In a previous MindPower, I wrote that our ego isn't something we need to kill off or rid ourselves of in order to live an authentic and meaningful life. In fact, a healthy ego is indispensable to virtually anything in life we aspire to do. So, why is the ego so often maligned in the personal growth world? Why are we advised to ignore or distrust or even kill the ego? The problem, at least for most of us, is that our egos have been left without any real care or training. They are operating under constant stress, without direction, and like a bad dog, they get into all kinds of trouble for lack of proper attention and care. We expect the ego to just behave properly, without providing it with any guidance for what that behavior really looks like. Now, I don't know about you, but I never had a class in school that taught me how to properly manage my ego. When the ego is left without training or nurturing, what else should we expect but an impulsive, wild, and impetuous thing that runs amok? Some readers of that original article really resonated with this idea, but followed up with some important questions. How do you train your ego to be helpful rather than reckless? How do you keep your ego in check so it doesn't ruin your life? How do you manage your ego so that it serves our higher good rather than holding us back? Well, there are some answers to these questions, and we'll get to them shortly. But first, a quick word about what we mean by ego. Sigmund Freud is often credited with inventing the idea of an ego, although, in fact, among Freud's triad of the psyche, the id, the ego, and the superego, Freud actually rarely referred to the ego in his work, and he didn't invent the idea. Ego comes from the Latin for I, as in, I went grocery shopping this morning. Whatever additional layers others have added to the idea of the ego is really a pretty simple concept. It's you, or perhaps more precisely, your idea of you. The I or ego is a representation of the aspects of ourselves that do two main things: decide and act. When I make a tuna sandwich, I generally don't think of it as something my soul or mind is doing, or that the choice of tuna was made by some external influence. It was me. I was the one who decided on tuna, and then I made the sandwich. Oh, and then I ate it. Sandwiches aside, you can see why a healthy ego is so important. A healthy ego makes healthy choices and takes resourceful actions, whether what kind of sandwich to make, how to resolve a problem in a relationship, or how to save for retirement. That's why it's so important to balance the powers of the ego, especially if we want it to help us in healthy and resourceful ways. So today, I wanted to share 3 tips for cultivating a healthy, happy ego that can help you retrain that so-called bad dog and transform it into a trustworthy, loyal, and powerful aspect of your authentic self. Tip number 1, learn the ego language. The language of the ego is easy to understand once you remember a couple of things about yourself. For starters, you have wants and needs. You have aspirations. You have dreams, goals, and plans. You may have things you want to obtain, like a new car or a nice pair of shoes, or maybe you want to have a certain kind of experience like visiting Machu Picchu or to swim with the dolphins. Well, the ego can help, but you need to know its language. The ego uses a lot of first-person language. I want, I think, I dream of. Yet often we repress this language because it can appear selfish or self-centered, or maybe we have reasons for why we can't obtain certain things. Maybe a trip to Machu Picchu isn't in the budget right now. But when we habitually deny the ego its chance to voice our wants and needs, we can inadvertently crush our hopes for aspiring to greater levels of success and happiness. Obviously, giving into every whim of the ego can get us into all kinds of trouble. But listening to those desires and dreams without instantly dismissing them can help you integrate your ego into your life in a healthy way. So, listen to what the ego wants. We might not always be able to make it happen, But if we constantly shush our ego's desires, it teaches the ego that its needs, our needs, are unimportant. That's a recipe for the bad dog version of an ego, where it begins to create dysfunctional and unhealthy problems in our lives. But an ego that is heard and acknowledged can come up with some amazing ways for us to enrich our experience of life. Tip number 2. Ask your ego, how can I questions. The ego can be very creative when it comes to helping you achieve your goals, but it can only do that if it's pointed in the right direction. Sometimes our egos are busy defending poor choices, grasping for unhealthy experiences, or engaged in toxic coping mechanisms. You can redirect the ego and aim its powers in the right direction by simply asking it, how can I questions. How can I questions are designed to tap into the ego's ability to create visions or ideas that lead you in a positive direction and identify the steps you can take to turn that vision into reality. This might mean achieving something big and important or simply getting the day's chores completed. The ego is the source of much of your willpower. It's like a battery that, when fully charged, can power you up to accomplish pretty much anything. To charge up your ego, ask it, how can I questions? How can I improve my diet and find time to exercise more? How can I resolve the challenges in my relationship? How can I complete this project on time? How can I stay in a positive mood today? How can I questions don't always provide immediate answers, and that's okay. They're meant to stimulate the creative, visionary parts of your mind to begin assembling ideas, scanning for opportunities, and manifesting results, often on an unconscious level. Just keep feeding the ego, how can I questions, and the answers will come. Tip number 3. Balance is key. The ego becomes a problem when it's out of balance. Think of a stringed instrument, like a guitar. For the guitar to produce music, the strings must be tuned properly. If the strings are too loose, the guitar will just make a muddied noise when you try to strum it. If the strings are too tight, they can snap the moment you pluck them. The ego is the same way. If the ego is too weak, we think we're not good enough. We think we're not deserving of happiness. We think we have no chance at success. If the ego is too strong, we think we're better than others. We think we deserve more than others. We think we must push others down to lift ourselves up. To tune and balance the ego, we must cultivate awareness. To do that, we meditate, ideally with Holosync, as it accelerates the effects of meditation considerably. It's via meditation that we can actually observe the ego at work. Now, if you've ever meditated, you probably know the feeling of your mind being flooded with thoughts the moment you try to clear and calm it. Many of those thoughts are coming directly from the ego. So, rather than dismiss those thoughts, notice them. See what they can tell you. Meditation lets us peek in on what the ego is up to. Sometimes we find out that our ego is a little out of balance. If thoughts of poor esteem arise, our ego is too weak. If we find ourselves busy thinking toxic thoughts about others, our ego may be too strong. Calling the ego into balance requires self-honesty and a willingness to adjust our internal self-talk and approach to life. Expanding your awareness of your ego will give you insight into how to rebalance and integrate its power into everything you do. Remember that your ego holds great potential and power. With some care and training, it becomes an indispensable ally in life, helping you take action, moving you forward, strengthening your self-worth and confidence. Indeed, a healthy and balanced ego is at the core of the mindful, authentic, and empowered life. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this article, please like, subscribe, and share. And let us know what your tips for balancing a healthy ego are in the comments below. Until next time, be well.